What is going on, everyone? It is Zach, and today we are going to talk about abilities for the Mega Evolutions of the starters from Pokemon ZA, as they were just revealed yesterday in the information drop about champions. I made a video late last night talking about it. If you want to check that out, that will be at the end of the video. You can also find it in the description down below, but let's get into it. I'm going to talk about the Mega Pokemon from ZA, Emboar, Meganium, and Feraligatr, and I'm also going to bring up the Gen 6 starters, Delphox, Chestnut, and Greninja, because I never made a video talking about them, but I'll go over that quickly. First off, Mega Emboar is the stinker of the group. Unfortunately, it gets the ability Mold Breaker, which allows you to ignore abilities when attacking Pokemon. So, for example, you can hit Heatran with a fire type move, even though it has Flash Fire. You can Helping Hand Golden Go, as I saw one of the memes state. Does it get Helping Hand? It does. So you can click Helping Hand to Golden Go and help it out. But most of the time, your main fire move is going to be Flare Blitz. Now, there's also Flame Charge if you want to speed up your Pokemon, and then there's Bulk Up as well, boosting the attack and defense by 1. Does it get Swords Dance? It does not. So Bulk Up it is. I can't really see most people choosing it over regular Emboar, because you could put a Clear Amulet on it to prevent Intimidate. You can use Reckless, which will boost your Flare Blitz, boost your Wild Charge, and give you a little bit more freedom with the items and stuff. You are, if you go the regular Emboar, you are missing out on a decent amount of attack, but honestly, with the Reckless boost, you're probably getting the same out of your Flare Blitz and your Wild Charge. It's okay, but it's not that good. They really scuffs the fire starters for ZA, because Delphox, Mega Delphox gets Levitate. We've all seen it. It will not take advantage of Expanding Force if it is not touching that Psychic terrain. So here, if you use Mega Delphox, your Expanding Force is going to be single target, and it's also not going to get the attack boost. So in all honesty, if you want to spam Expanding Force, Delphox regular is a better user. Now, you can't really count Mega Delphox out though, because its special attack and its speed is so much higher compared to regular Delphox. So I can still see Mega Delphox getting some usage, and being a fire type immune to ground type attacks is not bad, especially when you can turn it on with Mega Evolution, so you can time it to your needs. So you could still carry that Expanding Force. It's just once you Mega Evolve, your Psychic attacks will actually be weaker because you won't get the Psychic terrain boost, especially Expanding Force. So if you're running Mega Delphox, you might want to run Psychic over Expanding Force, because without the terrain boost, you're going to get a stronger move out of Psychic than you are Expanding Force. I will say you could do some Gravity shenanigans, but then you have to not only set up Psychic terrain, but set up Gravity as well. And that's a lot of setup. So I don't know if it's going to be exactly worth it. Especially with Delphox, you can tack on different items. So you could do Choice Specs, you can do Life Orb. Mega Delphox, you don't get the item. So the fire types really got scuffed this generation, so someone will still use them. Next up is Mega Feraligatr, and I have Aerial Aid on here, but it has a new ability called Dragon Eyes, which gives you normal type moves, the Dragon type, and also give those moves a 1.2 times boost. So once again, Feraligatr has Sheer Force, which if you stack it with Life Orb, you get a lot of damage modifiers added onto their moves. So I don't know if, honestly, Mega Feraligatr is going to be worth it. You do go from 105 to 160, so definitely that helps it out, unlike Mega Delphox here, where it has a lot more boost to its attack than Delphox does to its special attack based on the base. They're 1 point off, but with Delphox, you start at 114 and go up to 159. With Feraligatr, you start at 105 and go up to 160. So that's a lot bigger boost. And we've seen this ability, or a form of this ability, be good with Mega Salamence with Aerial 8. Mega Salamence took advantage of Hyper Voice and having the stats to be both a physical attacker and a special attacker at the same time. Feraligatr doesn't have that, but what you do have is Dragon Edge, or not Dragon Edge, Double Edge. Double Edge becoming a Dragon type move and going up to 160 base power is actually pretty good, especially if you can get a Dragon Dance off beforehand. There is also Slash if you want to run that, which has a high crit rate, and with the 1.2 times boost would actually be stronger than the Dragon Claw, being a 80 base power. So you could run the Slash and hope to get more crits out of it. And then I've also seen people talk about Body Slam here. Body Slam being stronger than both of them. So having a Dragon type Body Slam would actually be pretty good, especially when you bring in the chance to paralyze. But when it comes to Mega Feraligatr, if you want to hit hard, you're going to want to use the Double Edge before you click the Body Slam. Maybe if you want your Feraligatr to stay around longer, you go Body Slam instead of Double Edge, or maybe you gamble with the Slash. But I see most people just tacking on Double Edge over Outrage, because Outrage is the same base power as Double Edge, but you're locked into that move. So Double Edge has some advantages with this Dragon Eyes ability. Also, if you pair it with something with Friend Guard or Heal Pulse, something like that, it could be decent. And if you don't want the speed, if you want to run a Trick Room mode and just want to focus on the attack, you could do a Swords Dance set, because Feraligatr, Mega Feraligatr, isn't that fast. At 78, you could run it as a decent setup mon on either side, whether you want to run it slow or if you want to run it fast. You could do that with the Feraligatr with either Dragon Dance or Swords Dance. Mega Greninja here. Mega Greninja stays the same. It kind of loses out. We don't know if Mega Greninja is going to have the one big Water Shuriken like it did in ZA. I would assume not, because the things we saw with Meganium is tied into its ability. So you basically run Mega Greninja kind of the same way you run regular Greninja. Greninja is one of those as well. You could make it a physical attacker or a special attacker. So it does have some variability that you can add into its sets. If you want to run a Gunk Shot physical set, you can try that out. But you could also run Hydro Pump over Water Shuriken if you don't want to risk missing, because it only hits 2 to 5 times. So you're gambling a little bit there, and Mega Greninja can't run something like the loaded dice. Mega Greninja is still frail. They basically bumped its defense up and its special defense up about, I think, 10 points. Yeah, up 10 points. And then everything else they put into the speed, attack, and special attack. It hits hard, but it is still a frail Pokemon. So we'll have to see what kind of support you can get around Greninja to see if it can do anything really good. And Protean, we saw, got nerfed. It only happens once per switch in. So as soon as you click Water Shuriken, you're a water type. As soon as you click Dark Pulse, you're a dark type. And when you don't have that constant switching like we did in Sword and Shield, it kind of hurts it. And Greninja wants an item like Focus Sash or that loaded dice to get more hits with Water Shuriken. So I don't know how good Mega Greninja is going to be, but when you see it on the field, it's still going to hit hard, so you still have to like count it as a threat. Mega Meganium is probably the winner of the Mega Evolution so far, at least for the starters, that is. We haven't seen any of the abilities for the other new Mega Evolution Pokemon, but Mega Meganium gets a new ability. I believe it's Mega Soul. And what Mega Soul does is that Meganium always treats its moves like the sun is up. So Synthesis is always going to charge, or always going to heal 2/3 of HP, which is really good. Solar Beam is always going to be a one-turn move with Mega Meganium, and Weather Ball will always be a fire type move, no matter what weather is up, because with Mega Meganium's ability, it is treating it as the sun is up. And this is pretty good because you get a very strong Solar Beam with no charge, whether the sun is up or not. So you can click Solar Beam with Mega Meganium without having to worry about your opponent switching in a different type of weather or taking away the sun. Weather Ball is kind of, I don't know. I don't know if it's good that you will always get a boosted Weather Ball, but do you always want a fire type? I want to say with Meganium, probably. And then with the fairy typing, it also gets access to a Stab Dazzling Gleam, which it got in ZA. Now, Meganium before really wasn't ran that much. You could do the Solar Beam and you could run Leaf Guard where this Pokemon can't be statused. Earth Power is usually something it runs on as well to deal with fire types. You sometimes would see a Leech Seed. Meganium would usually run support like Light Screen and stuff like that. But with the stats now, Mega Meganium is actually like pretty thick with getting 15 in each of its defenses and its special attack going up by, what was that? I'm doing math. 60 points. That's a pretty good jump up in points. And then you have 10 going into attack. Once again, Meganium doesn't gain any speed, so you could ideally run Meganium as a Trick Room Mon with 80. It's not the slowest, but it's also not the fastest. But I can see Mega Meganium getting some uses, especially with the fairy typing. You still have to worry about poison type moves, but I definitely think Mega Meganium is the winner out of these abilities. And last off, you have Mega Chestnut. Now, Mega Chestnut is just like Greninja, where it keeps its same ability of Bulletproof, and Bulletproof makes it immune to bullet type moves. So like Bullet Seed, like Shadow Bomb, Sludge Bomb, which are all good moves for Chestnut to be immune to. And with Chestnut, its defenses go insane. A 50-point increase in defenses and then a 30-point increase in attack. Basically, you just run the same set. Iron Defense, Body Press. You can run Seed Bomb or Wood Hammer depending on how much recoil you want. I want to say with Mega Chestnut, you might be okay with running Seed Bomb over Wood Hammer because you don't get that recovery from like a leftovers that Chestnut can hold if it doesn't have the Mega Evolution. And then you get access to Spiky Shield, which was once a signature move, so you can really punish a lot of plays here with Chestnut and just bulk up. And with the Mega, you actually need less iron defenses to do damage. The iron defenses that you have will do more with Mega Chestnut because its defense is just naturally higher. The one thing I will say is that its special defense goes up quite a lot too. So Chestnut is a bulky Mon. I could see people running Body Press, Iron Defense, Leech Seed, and Spiky Shield just as a way to make Chestnut like basically a stall Pokemon. And with that, I could see it doing really well. And once again, this Mon is slow, losing 20 in speed, making it at a Brave Nature at 31 IVs, because we don't know if IVs are going to be in Champions. So what we've seen so far is most of these Pokemon are 31 IV. So I'm going to factor in the same thing. It gets down to 57, which is pretty slow compared to most Trick Room Mons. I'm pretty sure Like Ice Rider, for example, gets down to 49. Like Ursaluna and stuff gets down to 49. And being fighting in grass, it actually resists a lot of the moves like Ursaluna wants to use. So it can take those pretty well, especially the physical Ursaluna, the non-Blood Moon variant. With that high defense, it can actually probably shake off a lot of things from Ursaluna even after the Guts boost. So this is going to be interesting to see. The big winners are the grass types, I'm not going to lie, which is good. I think Chestnut and Meganium needed some love. The fairy typing was good because you actually have more access to moves and more access to stab moves with Mega Meganium, and just its new ability overall, Mega Soul, is going to benefit it. Hands down. Feraligatr, I think Feraligatr can get some usage here. I can see it being paired up with like a Sinistra or a Clefairy, a Follow Me Clefairy. Anything with redirection that will allow Feraligatr to get set up off. Because a 160 attack hitting a 160 base power like double edge, like dragon type double edge, is going to hit hard. And like I said, if you want to run the Trick Room mode, you could go down to 88 speed, which, I mean, if they're running hyper offense and Tailwind, like, it could be good. And then getting a Swords Dance off. But the big losers overall is the fire types for sure. And that's a bummer because like Mega Delphox with 159 like special attack and being 1 point slower than Fluttermane had a lot of potential. But then again, if you factor in that speed tier as well, you're also 1 point slower than Chien-Pao. You're also 1 point slower than Miraidon. It's that speed area is a very tricky one, especially in recent formats. So that 1 point could be a make or break. But I think a lot of people would just be okay with using Delphox and getting an item like that Choice Specs, like that Life Orb, and taking advantage of Expanding Force if Indeedee is in the game, or Tapu Lele. But what do you think? What is your favorite starter? My favorite starter is still Mega Feraligatr out of the starters as well. Greninja is cool, but Greninja didn't change enough for me. I wish they would have just taken Ash Greninja and made it a Mega. I feel like that would have been a lot better. Like, even if you used this Mega design, but gave it Battle Bond where it got a boost when it got a KO, that would have been really cool. Mega Chestnut design-wise is pretty cool as well. So I'm excited to use all of them. Pokemon Champions coming in just a few weeks. Let's check the calendar. 2 weeks from today. It's coming out April 8th. I talked about it, all the news in my previous video. So if you haven't seen that already, make sure you check it out. And if you enjoyed this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. But that's going to be all. Let me know who's your favorite Mega out of these 6 in the comments down below. Until next time, I'm Zach, and we'll see everyone later.